Now I want to show you how to do something, in my opinion, pretty cool here. This is a bit burdensome to have to write out a constructor and construct state like this. It also is TypeScript can't figure this out, right? And so there's a better way of doing this that I want to show you really quick to instantiate your state. If you have control of your Babel config, then you can do this. If not, then you may not. So it would be super useful if we could just do state equals loading true. Wouldn't that be a lot nicer if you could just do it that way? Well, you actually can. But the thing is this is actually a proposal for JavaScript, and it's not actually a real thing quite yet, but you can make it work. So this will land in JavaScript. I think it's actually going to land in 2019 or 2020. So I'm going to show you how to modify your Babel config if you have to with React. So the first thing I need you to do is open your command line here. So you can see here it says support for the experimental syntax class properties isn't currently enabled. And we're just going to go enable that really quick. So I want you to do npm install -D, and you have to install quite a few things to make this work. babel-eslint, @babel/core, @babel/preset-env, @babel/plugin-proposal-class-properties. I don't name these, I'm very sorry. And @babel/preset-react. You're all done typing that now? No, I'm just kidding. It's a lot to type. So what's going on here? All this stuff is built in to Parcel, and Parcel has just been handling this for us. However, it gives us the escape hatch that if we have custom needs, which in this case we do because it doesn't have this one, the @babel plugin proposal class properties, that we can say, hey, Parcel, use our config instead of your config. Their config is basically like, let's target modern JavaScript, basically, like everything that has already shipped with valid JavaScript. In general, I don't say ship to production like experimental JavaScript, except I'm okay with this one because this one's definitely going to land. In fact, I believe it has already landed. And if I remember reading correctly, last week it landed. But in general, that can bite you in the butt. So we'll install that. Should take a second to go through and load all that stuff. And I guess while this is finishing, we are going to, oh, there it finished. So I want you to create a new file here. And I want you to call it dot, not inside of source, inside of adopt me, the root directory of the project. Call it dot babel rc. Okay? Yes, use dot. Okay, inside of here, I want you to put presets. And then we're going to put two things here in presets. One of them is going to be @babel/preset-react. And one of these is going to be @babel/preset-env. Under that, we're going to put plugins. And inside of that, we'll put @babel/plugin-proposal-class-properties. So let's talk about what those two things are. Presets, Babel React is it brings with it all of the things that you need to transpile React, right? So in understanding JSX, It also brings with it flow. Not that we're using flow at all, but that is included in the preset for React. But yeah, it's a bunch of transpolations around JSX. Babel preset env. This is and I should mention that a preset is a group of plugins, right? So in this case, we're bringing one transformation, but a preset is a bunch of plugins, which is a bunch of transformations. This will transpile your code for the environment that you specify. So luckily, you and I have already specified an environment, and that is in our package.json. Remember when we did this? So this preset env is going to look at this browsers list and say, cool, I'm going to transpile all of the JavaScript so it works in these browsers. So that won't be very many things because most of JavaScript works in these browsers because these are very, very new browsers. Okay? But there's pretty cool stuff. You can actually import your Google Analytics into preset env, and it will actually transpile it specifically for your users, right? So you can say, hey, here's my Google Analytics, transpile it so 99% of these people can see my website. And that's built into the browsers list package. We're not going to do that today, but it is possible. Okay, and then the plugins here, this is what's actually going to allow us to do that syntax that I just showed you. Okay, I need you to do one more thing here. So save this, your Babel RC. I need you to open your .eslintrc file. And we have to add a parser option. So parser, and I need you to put babel-eslint. So up to this point, ESLint has been able to understand all of the code that we've been using, but now we've added a new experimental feature that ESLint would choke on. So we have to say, use Babel to understand this code. And that's all this does. Now, this might seem like a lot of ritual to use one feature, right? I typically wouldn't do it just for one feature like this, but this is actually to be more instructive on how to use Babel and Parcel together. Okay, so now that you've put in that, line 17 there, let's go back to our search params page. And now, not search params, we were on details rather. Now it's fine with this. Pretty cool, right? Now, if I'm not mistaken, you should be able to say this dot state dot, and then it knows that you have loading on there. That's because now TypeScript can understand your component, right? Whereas notice it doesn't actually know that you have media and breed and load and some of these other ones because we didn't instantiate it up here. But TypeScript has the ability now to go and run on your code and understand, okay, you have these things on your component, and I can autocomplete these things for you. So like if I went in here and said name colon blank like that, just to instantiate it to be some sort of default thing, that means I could come down here and say this dot state dot, and then notice now name is in here as well. It's the magic of TypeScript and VS Code for that matter. We'll get to that later though. There's a whole section on TypeScript. So what if it doesn't work? I'm just kidding. Let's see what happened here. This.state.return. Did I leave a this.state in somewhere? Oh, yeah, that's weird. There it goes. That was just for me showing like this dot name and stuff like that, and then it prettier just wrapped it onto that line. Cool. So yeah, now that's still working with the public class property. It's actually what that's called.